The tight end position is one of the most important factors to any NFL offense. Having a versatile tight end is game-changing. Tight ends have an important role playing as a hybrid player between playing as an offensive lineman and a wide receiver. Rob Gronkowski, Shannon Sharpe, Tony Gonzalez, and Travis Kelce are some of the greats in this position. Recently, everyone is talking about the comparison between Tony Gonzalez and Travis Kelce. How can you even compare a Hall of Famer who has already set his career in stone to an active player? Well, Travis has already shown out what it looks like to be a Hall of Famer tight end, but is it even fair to compare the two against each other? Both show how it is to be a dominant tight end. It's difficult to say one is better than the other, but what we can do is compare the two and their impact they left on the league. Tony Gonzalez grew up in Torrance, California. Tony played basketball and football growing up. As a senior in high school, he caught 62 passes for 945 yards and 13 touchdowns. He was a first-team All-American selection at both tight end and linebacker. He was also named Orange County and Sunset League MVP for basketball, averaging 26 points per game. Tony shared the Orange County High School Athlete of the Year award with professional golfer Tiger Woods. Travis was the same way. He played primarily basketball and football while in high school for Cleveland Heights in Ohio. Tony attended the University of California, Berkeley. Gonzalez was coached by future NFL coach Steve Mariucci. Gonzalez was an All-Pac-10 and All-American selection. He continued to play basketball while in college. In 26 games, he averaged 6.8 points per game and 5.4 rebounds. His team would make it to the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament. Gonzalez would have to choose between either playing football or basketball. His decision was already made mentally. He was passionate about playing football more than basketball. Travis also had to come to this decision too, but he stated he found happiness playing football. Football was his passion. Travis attended the University of Cincinnati. Travis would face many trials while in college, but continued to work towards his goal of playing professional football. Travis at one point had to go play baseball after violating team rules, but it just wasn't for him. The University of Cincinnati decided to let him back on the team, and he took that opportunity and ran with it. Travis finished his college career first in single-season receiving yards for a tight end with 722 yards. Both entered the NFL draft after playing college football and were drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs. Tony was drafted in the 1997 draft and Travis in the 2013 draft. Both players went out there and had a task at hand: to be a dominant tight end for the team that drafted them. As a rookie, Tony recorded 33 receptions for 368 yards and 2 touchdowns. Travis's rookie season was cut short due to a season-ending injury. He was only able to play 1 snap for the special teams roster. Tony had an immediate impact for the Chiefs, but wouldn't have his breakout season until his 3rd year in the league. He led the Chiefs with 76 catches for 849 yards and 11 touchdowns. He received his first of 14 Pro Bowl appearances after that season. He was also named first-team All-Pro. The following year, he would outperform his previous year with 93 receptions for 1,203 yards and 9 touchdowns. Besides his rookie year, Tony never caught less than 59 receptions in a season. Tony would go on to have a Hall of Fame career. He showed how to perform as a dominant tight end. In 2004, Tony would record a career high with 102 catches for 1,258 yards and 7 touchdowns. He ended up leading the league in receptions that season. He would go on to play 12 seasons with the Chiefs before being traded to the Falcons. He was traded for a 2nd-round pick to the Atlanta Falcons. After his first season with the Falcons, he recorded 83 receptions for 867 yards and 6 touchdowns. His stats dropped from previous years with the Chiefs, and for the first time in 10 years, he wasn't invited to the Pro Bowl. In Week 3 of the 2010 season, Tony would record his best game as a Falcon against the reigning Super Bowl champions, the New Orleans Saints. He caught 8 passes for 110 yards and a touchdown to lead the Falcons to a win. The Falcons ended up making the playoffs that year. It would be Tony's first playoff game in 5 years. They would go on to lose to the Packers, who eventually won the Super Bowl. After the 2011 NFL lockout, Tony would go back and forth with the idea of retiring but wanted to continue playing. He insisted he had at least 3 more years. He finished the 2011 season with 80 receptions for 875 yards and 7 receiving touchdowns. He would play against the Chiefs in Arrowhead for the first time in his career on the season opener in 2012, which would end in a Falcons victory. Tony Gonzalez would play his final game on December 29, 2013. Tony set many NFL records and holds records for the Chiefs organization. Tony has the NFL record for most yards in a career by any tight end with 15,127 yards. He ended his career with most receptions in a season by a tight end with 1,325. Tony also holds the Chiefs record for most receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, career receptions, and the most yards from the line of scrimmage. Tony paved the way for the next generation of tight ends. Travis mentioned that he's not out here to be better than anyone else. He just focuses on his abilities and stays in his lane. Travis told Andy Reid after being drafted that he will try to be the best tight end he's ever had. I covered Travis Kelce's come up in my recent video. Make sure you guys check that one out. Travis is on his way to having debatably the best career among any tight ends. But like I mentioned earlier, there are many unique tight ends, so it's hard to say any are better than the other. They all are great in their own ways. Travis has already broken many NFL records and Chief franchise records. Among tight ends, these are some of the records Travis Kelce has broken. He has the most consecutive 1,000 plus yard seasons. He had the most receiving yards in a season in 2020. He has the most career postseason receptions by any tight end. He has the most 100 plus reception seasons. It took him the fewest games to get to 10,000 career receiving yards. He has the most 100 receiving yard games. And he also has the most career postseason receiving touchdowns by a tight end. He also is a two-time Super Bowl champion with the Kansas City Chiefs. Travis Kelce also has the most 100 plus receiving yard games in Chiefs franchise history. He's also tied for most touchdowns in a game for any Chiefs player. He recorded 4 touchdowns in a close win against the Raiders. But if we were just to base who's the best based on championships and accolades, technically if we use the championship debate, Rob Gronkowski would be considered the best. But Rob also set his own lane for being great in his own ways. If we use the analogy of basing who's the best off certain accolades, then it's really hard to dictate who the best is. Rob set his own lane for being great in his own ways like these other tight ends. Every dominant tight end plays in their own unique style. Who do you think is the greatest tight end of all time? Let me know in the comments. I will be reading every response. I'm actually very curious.